I took a puff every day.
Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. A very good morning to you. How are you doing? Where are you watching us from? Are you part of the conversation? Send in your questions, comments, 111 That is our SMS line. Switch TV KE on Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. Now, you know I'm a sucker for a good love story, and we're in for one right now. It's time for Relationship Circle. And we have Grace and Steven in the building. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
We tried to separate them. Kuna venye hii gap haikukua, but slowly, lo and behold, for camera ni kazi tu. Alafu kisha tuendelee, lakini karibuni.
Asante. Thank you so much for
Kindly,
having us.
you can introduce yourselves.
Right.
Tutaanza na gentleman ama lady. Ladies go
Ladies
first.
go first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is your camera, Grace.
Oh, good morning. My name is Grace Omondi, and I'm born again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You too.
I'm a wife. I'm a wife and a mom of one. Yeah, by God's grace. And I'm happy to be here today.
Sikusikia ukisema Pastor Grace.
I am Pastor Grace
Yes.
Naserian Omondi. Unajua, when we were doing our wedding, we were told sometimes when it comes to marriage and relationships,
Yes.
the titles are put aside kidogo. So even the pastor who was officiating us didn't use the pastor and pastor. He just used our official names. So we become used to just using our official names when it comes to matter relationship and marriage, because it doesn't respect the title when it comes to marriage.
That's true.
The issues and all those things, they don't respect the title. So we just use the names.
Absolutely.
Yes, but I'm Pastor Grace.
Okay.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Right. I'm Stephen Omondi, the husband to this beautiful girl here.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a pastor. We're the senior pastors for Lama Fellowship Church. We're in the CBD. I'm also a business person. Apart from that, I'm a father to one, and a father to many also.
Yes.
Spiritual children.
Yes.
I know they're watching.
Oh, Karibuni. Continue watching. We are in for a good love story. Where did this journey begin? Were you in the same church? I don't know why I decided to start there. You know, I don't know if I need to start there, but how did it start? Who saw whom first?
Wow. I think she's a better storyteller than I am.
But at some point you'll be able to tell your part of the story as well.
Well, my part of the story would be ours is a journey. We met many years ago. I'm an artist before I became a pastor. Still do sing. So at some given point, I was invited to go and perform in a church in the Korokocho slums.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I went there, I performed, and she was the worship leader in that church.
Okay.
That's we are talking about now. That was 10 years earlier before we got married.
What?
Yeah.
So how many years ago?
So that is about 13, 14 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just sang, and when I finished, I flew in the prophetic by the grace of God. When she ministered, God gave me a word for her, and I just told her, you know, God is gonna use you in ministry, and that was it. And then I went back my way. 10 years later, we met again in another event. Now I was a pastor. I had been ordained as a pastor that time, and there was a meeting that was being hosted in town at Nasiko Chambers, and she was again the worship leader there. You know, fate has it that way. So we met, and again God gave me a word for her. Again the same word.
Unapatiwa word za watu wengine Steven ama
ilikuwa ni yake, ilikuwa inakuja sana.
Ilikuwa word ni yake.
Ilikuwa word yake. So mimi nikampea word, and then you know it was not love at first sight.
Yes.
We built friendship over time, but you see, between the first time we met and the second time we met, there was a gap of 10 years. We had never met again. Actually, the second time I was meeting her in that meeting,
yes,
I could not recall her completely.
Did you recall him?
No.
And when you first saw him, the very first time he came with a word for you as a worship leader, how did you take it? Did you see him in any other way apart from Mutumishi ametumiwa niletee word?
You see, I was born in Korokocho.
Yes.
And the church I used to fellowship, we didn't really embrace prophetic stuff back then. So here comes a musician, because he came as an artist.
Yes.
Here comes an artist, he's singing, and then I'm singing too. And then he gives me a prophecy that God is going to use you and you'll record many songs. I'm like, you already know I can sing, so
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I brushed it off. And then fast forward, I think 7 years later, we met in town. I was still singing again. And then he gave me the same prophetic word. I'm still not yet into the prophetic or understanding what really prophetic means.
Yes.
So he's giving me a prophecy again. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever
Same
happens.
thing again. Did you recognize him? Because he says he didn't recognize
No,
you.
actually, when we were told he's the one coming to minister, I was looking forward to see who this big man is. And then he walks in. I always tell him this story. He walks in with some friends of his,
Yes.
ministers of the gospel, and they walk in, and he was just dressed casually. So when I looked at him, I didn't even think he was the one ministering.
Like anaongoza ule mwenye anakuja.
I actually thought
Amembebea Bible.
yeah, he's the one escorting the speaker. So when it's time for the speaker to speak now, the pastor who was with us introduces him, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's wait and see how this goes.
Yes.
And then he ministers, and then when we are almost finishing up, again, he gives me a word. And then I'm like, I think I've seen you somewhere. I have this photographic memory where if I see you once, I'll remember you. And if you say something and you repeat it again, I'll remember who you are.
Exactly who you
So
are.
when he said that again,
Yes.
I asked him, now I followed him out, and I asked him, are you not the same person who came to Maini Church quite a while back and gave me a similar prophecy, but back then you were singing? And then he was like, oh. And then I mentioned the guy who invited him to our church back then, and then he was like, oh, you went to that church? I'm the one. And then I was, oh, okay.
So you gave me
And
the
we
same.
parted
You
ways.
gave me the same message
Yes.
7 years ago.
And we parted ways. And then later on, since we were still in different churches,
Yes.
he used to have a meeting called Word Impact.
Okay.
So now that we've met and he knows I can sing, he used to invite me for his meetings.
Okay.
So ours has been friendship. Even when now the relationship came,
Yes.
it was very awkward for both of us. It was like, oh, God.
Who started that conversation? Stephen, was it you? Why does it look like it was you, Stephen? Ulienda mkaminista uliongeleshwa tena.
No, I'm guilty as charged, you know. Me falling in love with grace, I think it's divine, because I believe God always orchestrates our paths and we don't crisscross each other's path without a reason.
Okay.
I was coming from a very serious heartbreak. Actually, I'd given up on love completely, because I had really proposed to somebody. It was that serious. Yeah.
Okay, well, shapoa.
Yeah, to Shahil.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was that serious. So when this ended, it really crushed me, because you see, at that time I was already running the ministry. I was the pastor there, the lead pastor, and this girl was, she was the mom to be, to the church. And then when that happens, of course, it breaks people's heart and all that.
Yes.
But it was nothing really that I will hold against anybody. She's my friend. We talk. We
So it
catch
just
up.
didn't work out.
It just didn't work out.
So you were not looking for love at this particular point.
Completely, no.
You were focused. It's me, industry, ministry,
Yeah.
basi.
That was it. I was just now God all the way mpaka Yesu arudi kiwezekana.
And then here comes angelic voice.
Yeah, actually for her now, when we got into a relationship,
Yes.
I reached out and asked her to come and help me, because she's an accountant by profession. I'm a journalist by profession.
Okay.
Yeah. So I asked her to come and help me balance my checkbooks and stuff like that. And in between there, sasa ikakuwa.
In between, ikakuwa aje. You know me, I like the details. I'm in here for the details.
Mikali.
So ikakuwa aje. So mnakuwa mna minister. We mwenyewe ndio wa kwanza unaona hapa pengine.
Yeah.
So did you tell her directly, or did you start now, apart from the ministry, uko to coffee, lunch, and then
Well,
you opened up your heart to
Let me go to the detail now then.
Sawa.
Okay. because of what had happened, I feared getting into relationships because I feared being heartbroken. I've not had a series of relationships.
Yes.
It was one, and then now that was it. This is the second one, you know. So, and one day I just got into prayer as usual, and I always tell people that God answers the desires of our hearts.
Yes.
I just one day I was praying. I told God I need to have a sign who my wife would be, because now at this point I feel I'm ready for marriage. I feel the heart is now, you know, open to love again.
Yes.
Prayed. God gave me a sign. We went to preach in a church in Embakasi called Methodist Church. The previous night, God has spoken to my heart and told me that I'm gonna give you a wife, but now the sign would be where you're going to be invited to a church that does not embrace the prophetic as such. Because, you know, the Methodist church don't embrace the prophetic church, you know, prophetic ministry as such. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm open to it. There was nothing really much about it. Fast forward, I was invited to Methodist. I went and preached. The word was, the lady who will stir your tea will be your wife. So we went to Methodist. I went with her with some of my pastors and a few of my sons. And after preaching, we were ushered into the pastor's office. And here she comes, stirs my tea, and the voice is very clear. I was like, no, that can't be.
Oh my God.
That can't be.
Oh
Actually,
my
I
God.
fought it.
No, what?
I fought
Did
it.
you realize it immediately as she was stirring?
Yeah, when she stirred my tea, right that point. And interesting thing, she knelt down to stir my tea.
You did
Interestingly.
what? Grace, was it a thing that you usually used to do?
No, you see, there's a part, like you said, I'm the better storyteller.
Clearly.
When now he invited me to his meetings.
Yes.
Later on, when he was now opening the ministry, he requested if I would come and help out with the books. So I came in, and when I got to the church, I started helping out. So I joined the ministry as an administrator stroke accountant.
Okay.
So I would help out, and in the course of it, now that I'm the administrator, I had to be in church almost throughout.
Okay.
I quit my job. I joined the ministry full time. So it's like I was working and ministering at the same time. So being the admin and he's in the office too, I would serve him during the lunch times, the morning hours, because we would be in church by as early as 8. So I would serve him, and it was just normal things. And I wasn't alone. We had other people in church who were working with us. So most of the time, I would either serve him or send someone to serve him.
Okay.
But this particular day, funny thing is, I'm in a relationship.
Ooh.
Yes.
Choose.
And in this minute, in this this mission that we've gone to Methodist, I am with my current boyfriend in that
he was
mission.
there.
Oh God. Drama.
So you see, even when he's hearing about me being the wife, he's like, this can't be. Because all along, we've been friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good friends.
And
Now
then
I
you
understand
see-
why the friendship is why it became awkward.
Yeah.
And then you see, like in a relationship, the one that just ended,
Yes.
when they had issues, he
It
would
was
come
you.
to me.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, you know, this and this is happening. What do I do? How do I go about it? And then I'm like, don't worry. I'll talk to her. We'll see how we can work this out. And then, so I'm like Kofi Annan of this relationship. So even when he's coming now later on, something happened before he could tell me
Yes.
that I am to be his wife.
Yes.
Something happened to my relationship, and it ended. Out of nowhere, the guy became violent, not really verbally violent, and sometimes he would just try to pull and push this and that.
Still violent.
But it happened that it just ended. So one night we are in church.
Yes.
We have ladies kesha, and then I want to go minister, because I'm the praise and worship leader.
Yes.
And then this guy stands on my way and says, you're not going until you
Excuse
finish talking.
you.
And then I'm like, you do know how much I value my ministry. So please,
Yes.
let me go and minister, then we can talk. we have a whole day tomorrow, the other day. We have a
We
whole...
will talk.
We will talk.
You know, we're going to stop right there. Right there. He's in out of a relationship. Huyu ndio Kofi Annan wa the previous relationship.
Yes.
She's in a relationship, but God, the one who stars my tea, and she ends up starring the tea. So I don't know how this one's going to go, but we're going to be back with them after this very short break. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. Love story hapa imeshika, tuko in the thick of things. But just before we get back to that, tunasema Mikali, Nazar inaanza saa ngapi? Mbona mtuletiangi vipindi kama Stats Nagi na Nazar mumekaa sana bila hizi vipindi? So I'm here just to say Nazar, it's been confirmed that Nazar is coming back. The next season is coming back, so stay tuned for us to kuambie ni lini inaanza. But just to confirm that Nazar is coming back, please share with your friends. Nazar inarudi. Pastor, tafadhali, you are encouraging someone. Wacha kutulenga. Tuambie kenye tunataka kusikia. So they're pushing for your side of the story as well.
I will give it.
Okay. So we've gotten to a point where now this relationship is over. And yours is still going on.
Yeah.
And he's turned out to be violent all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And now he's stopping you from going up the pulpit to handle your ministry.
Yeah.
So did you go?
Eventually, I didn't.
Oh, no.
I didn't manage to go, and it was a case I had to answer later on with the ladies, because they had requested I have to be there to minister.
Yes.
But I didn't. So some of the women in church had to go up to the pulpit and try and fill in the gap.
Oh, God.
So later on, it became clear to me that this wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But you see, he still hasn't told me anything. So I can't really say he's the reason why
No,
this
he's not.
ended.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't communicated, because he's still fighting with his God like Jacob did. Because this answer you're telling me, this is not really what I was looking for. I needed
And
something.
it was very specific.
Exactly. And then you see, this is a friend. We've become friends over time. We started spending almost every day in a week together, because I'm the admin of the church, he's the pastor. So when people are coming, they have to call me first to book their appointments before they can come see the pastor. And I have to be there so that I usher each and everyone at their time.
Yes.
So fast forward, the relationship ends, and then it's like he gave me a period to decide if I want to heal or if I want to continue crying about this relationship. And then one day at 1 a.m., he walks from his house. I was living close to church.
Yes.
For the purposes of reducing the cost and all that,
Yes.
transport-wise and all those things. But he was living slightly far from the church, but not really so far. So he walked from his house, came to my door, knocked.
1 a.m.
Yes, I'm a movie person, so I would watch movies until 4 a.m. And then I would sleep 1 hour, prepare, go to church. So he knew, I think he knew he would find me awake.
He was your friend.
He knew all these things.
He knew.
So he came to my house. He knocked at the door. I'm like, who is that at 1 a.m.? I opened the door. And then he came in. And then he didn't even say hi. He didn't even say anything else. He just said, you know, you're going to be my wife.
What?
He's not asking me.
He's
not even requesting. It's like, you're going to be my wife.
What was happening to you at 1 a.m.?
The things of God sometimes are difficult to explain.
Okay.
Because there was a push in me. Just go and tell her this is what it is.
Now.
And
Itangoja asubuhi.
and I just left, and that was it. Went and told her, and yeah.
And then he left again.
And I left. After I said that, I just left and went back home.
It's on Monday.
Yes.
On Tuesday, we were supposed to be in church. Sorry about that. We both didn't show up in church.
That awkward moment.
Because I was like, how am I going to even face him?
Yes.
And then he's also
What did
telling
I do?
himself the same thing. What did I do? How am I going to face her? Tuesday we didn't go to church. Wednesday we found ourselves in church.
Okay.
But nobody is talking to the other. He went into his office, locked himself in. I remained into my office. The only thing he did, he called me and said, cancel all my appointments.
Yeah.
Because without appointments, I can't talk to him.
Yes.
We will both mind our businesses. You mind your business in your
my
office, I
good
mind mine in my
Lord.
office. And it was awkward for like 2 weeks.
Have you told anybody what happened?
No. Maybe the pastor was confused. It was at night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe he's sleepwalked. Like, you see, the way you try to think, what could have happened to this man? Maybe something came over him and confused him.
Yes.
I don't think I should share this with anybody
No.
because these people might see the pastor as maybe he's getting depressed or something. Because you see, he's from a relationship.
Yes.
And he was really in love. It was evident.
Yeah.
He proposed in church.
Oh no.
So everybody knows this lady. And then he comes to me and then I'm like, no, this one is confused. I think the enemy is taking advantage of this painful
and hizo
moment.
masaa 3 a.m.
Yeah.
uko ndio shetani anafanya kazi.
Exactly. So you can share even with your best friend.
No.
You have to keep it under lock and key. And then he can tell us what happened
Okay, please,
next.
Stephen. So Wednesday, close the doors, cancel my appointments.
Yeah. I think in that waiting period, because after I told her that, it took how many months? Almost 3 months for us to have the first date. But in that period, I think I had a closure. I've been a church person since I was 3. I've been preaching since I was 3 years old. So I've been me, I'm a Levite.
Okay.
It's in me.
Yes.
I was really hearing God a lot. I really wanted to be sure this is what God wants me to do.
Okay.
And in that period, there were a lot of insecurities I had, you know. And as I was waiting for her answer, 3 things that came to my mind. One, there's the body, the soul, and the spirit.
Yes.
And I was like, kwanza unajua kuna hizo vitu physical appearances, unajua, which actually for me that time was a very big deal. My wife is very tall. She's blessed.
Vertically.
She's Naserian.
Yeah, she's Nigerian, you know. And I was like, sasa itakuaje? Dem ni mrefu, but she's very pretty and she has a beautiful heart.
Yes.
And then God teaches me 3 things:
Yes.
the body, the soul, and the spirit. A man basically is a spirit
Yes.
with a soul housed in a body. You know, and I was like, out of these 3 things, what is most important? And then the soul, because the soul is what carries the emotions, is what carries the mental capacity, because character of a person is a product of their soul, not their body, and not their spirit. So I began learning. In this period, she quit her job. She was serving in the church. I wasn't paying her. She was just serving God. I've been serving God all my life. Nobody has ever paid me to serve God. And I was seeing some like polls. I was seeing some stuff that are consistent of what I would really want for a wife, you know.
Yes.
And I think after that, she went and told our best man. It's called Pastor Oliver. And he told Pastor Oliver, you know what, your brother, because Pastor Oliver and I, we are very close. Your brother has told me something. Guess what the pastor tells him? Tells her, what are you waiting for? You say yes. So the next time she tells me yes, and we go on the first date. And I was broke that time. I was seriously broke. The first date nilimpeleka kwa kibanda. It's a kibanda fulani tao tu hapo. Yeah. And mwanaume ni mistari. So I poured out my heart to her. And I really spoke my heart out that day.
My God.
You know, I told her how I love her. It's been burning in me over time. And, you know, we kept it under wraps. Planned our wedding in 3 months. We were married.
3 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ulienda umasaini saa ngapi hizo 3 months?
Tulipanga. I mean, you know the things of God, there's a way God graces you and God gives you speed.
Yes.
Because at that particular time in my ministry,
Yeah.
I always look back and I thank God. If I didn't get married at that time, then there's some stuff about my life that could not have aligned. Because God sent people to the ministry. Just people came in and there was that support, there was that love, there was that commitment.
Yes.
You know, when we're doing the committee, people sowed in our lives, you know, our friends sowed in our lives. And we paid the dowry. I met the parents. We paid the dowry later. I was given the girl. 3 months later, we did our
Walked down the
wedding.
aisle.
Yeah,
The
and it
aisle.
was one of the best weddings, you know.
Same church.
Same church. Yeah, we got joined in holy matrimony, and fast forward now we are counting
Hauna
years.
fast forward sana. Acha nirudi kwa storyteller. So first date,
Yes.
Kibandaski. Ulikuwa tu sawa. Was it, when you compare to the Kibandaski and what you had in your mind in terms of like how I would be proposed ever in life, was it at 1 a.m.? Did he have a ring?
You see, first things first.
Yes.
This is not the person I thought I would be with.
No.
So, and then there are those insecurities of he's short, I'm
Yes.
tall,
Yeah.
I'm not working, I don't have this and that. And then you see, there are other people who are interested in him, in and out of church.
Okay.
And then when you look at those ladies, you feel like this one is better off than me. She can do much better than I would.
Yes.
And then we had other people in church who were so against him getting married to someone from our church.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
Being that he was in a relationship in church, people felt he shouldn't be with a girl from the same church.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even our pastors, his assistant pastors, they were so against him being with someone in the church. And then here he comes, and then he's like,
So yeah.
And then you see him being my friend.
Yes.
I'm one of the person who was making jokes to him and telling him, you see that girl, she can make a very good wife too.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! What?
She's very
Yeah, we actually we were been very close friends in the sense that anything, and she became a person I would open up to,
A confidant.
a confidant, you know.
Yes.
So anything, she would even crack a joke. To meet baby, sometimes we're going to buy some stuff for church. You're like, I check your them. I can make a very good wife for you, you know.
I would do that. And we would even go for missions, and someone would just pass by, and I'm telling him like, open your eyes. Please do open. And then here he comes and tells me his eyes have been opened, and then I'm like,
Oh yeah, and then
and
it's
then
you.
So fast forward to the Kibanda,
Yes.
and it was actually the only date he took me until we
Date
got
ilikuwa
married.
moja.
Yeah, it was just one.
Alikuwa anataka tu atafute mahali akuje
Aji-
pour
aji-
out his heart, and then ikishakuwa empty aende mafichoni mpaka siku ya harusi.
Unajua unaweza ongea. By that day, Mikali I nilitupa mistari hadi akalia.
Hey,
I'm that guy.
pastor. Ulikuwa unalia nini? What was the things that he was saying to you? Zikafanya
You
usikie
see-
kulia.
You see, I've grown up in an environment where I was made to feel like I'm not good enough.
Okay.
And then this person comes. You see, when you grow in church, you have this place you place, the pastors and the people who are serving at the altar, and you feel they are special in a different way. So here comes a man of God that we all respect and love.
Yes.
And then he tells you, you know, all these sugar things and all these things, and you're like, I think you're just confused. I don't think you really know the person you're talking to and the person you feel you should be with. And I gave him reasons why he shouldn't be with me. I did. I gave him reasons why I can't be a good wife to him. I
Why?
even gave
How
him
did you even know you can't?
I
be?
even gave him options. You see, so and so, and so and so. Go and pray between those two.
Uonyeshwe.
Ask God which one.
Did he
because
tell you about the starring of the tea at this point?
yes.
Oh, this is the first time you're hearing it.
Yeah, because I asked him, the first thing I asked him when we got into town, I asked him, why me? Why Grace? Of all the people you have, of all the friends you have. Because he has too many friends. Sometimes we even walk in town and he's stopped like 70 times and I tell him, please, next time just come alone. Let me just remain at home. So he had friends in and outside church. So I would tell him, I don't think I am the best person for you.
Okay.
So even me calling our best man and my pastor mom from the church I used to go,
Yes.
I was calling them to give me an affirmation that this is wrong. It shouldn't happen. But then I'm calling them. I call the pastor first, and then he's like, I hope you give an answer. I hope you say it yes.
Yes.
And then I call the other lady, and then she's like, yes, that's what we've been praying for. I'm like, what's happening? So when I even gave him a yes, it was out of I was still halfway confused
Yeah.
and halfway I had
In.
given
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So it still took me time until now, the day he stood in church and declared to the church that he's getting married to, and then everybody was like, we're waiting to hear who it is.
Tumbo yako ilikuwa maji.
Kabisa. So we are all waiting to hear who he's about to mention as the wife.
Yeah.
And then when he mentioned my name, like 20 ladies came running to me. They picked me up, and then they went round the church singing. Nikiwa nimeinuliwa hivi juu.
Wewe.
And then men came and lifted him up again. And then they start, and then I'm like, what's
Like people are waiting for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like everybody was looking forward to hearing this.
This.
So it was a service of its own kind. He
Oh
actually
my
didn't preach that day.
Yeah.
Oh my.
He went to the pulpit to preach.
Yes.
But before preaching, he announced.
And then that was the end.
Yeah.
That
Turned
was
into
the end.
People
celebration.
How
sang
many
for
years
a
in?
whole hour.
How many years in now?
We're now 2 years.
2 years in.
We got married on 22nd of June, 2019.
Uh-huh.
We clocked 2 years this year. And then God blessed us with a son
Okay.
last year.
Yay.
Yes.
Parting shot, tafadhali, Stephen,
Yes.
can you encourage humans out there who are holding back?
Yeah.
Badala. Kama wataki kuongea bado wataki kuji-express.
I will just tell them, the ways of God are mysterious.
Yes.
And sometimes God will allow you to do some things that may not tally with people's mindsets. The most important thing is if you've heard God, any other voice after that is irrelevant. But be very sure that it is God.
Yes.
Another thing I would say is to our generation today, many people are looking at the container, not the content. You know, the body deteriorates after some time.
That's true.
But the soul, if it is nurtured very well,
Yes.
it brings the best out of a person.
Absolutely.
So marry character, marry values, marry virtues. These are not tangible things. They are within a person.
Yeah.
Someone can look so beautiful, but their character is wayward.
Yeah.
You don't need a woman in the house who will begin to compete with you.
No.
As a man, you are the priest of the home. As a man, you are the leader, you are the head. You give directions.
Yes.
And if you can't find a woman who is able to submit and honor that which God has put in you naturally from
Yes.
creation,
Yes.
then you'll begin to understand there'll be strife. So to the young men out here and everybody watching who may be heartbroken in one or the other, give yourself time. Time is a healer.
Absolutely.
Give yourself time. You will love again.
Yes.
And when you love the next time, you'll love right.
I feel encouraged. I don't know about you. Asanteni sana, Grace. and
Thank you
Steve,
for having
coming.
us. Thank you so much.
Highly appreciate sharing your stories with us.
Karibu.
Told you I'm a sucker for a good love story, and this was just one of those ones. Totally loved it. We're taking a very short commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.